Your dog sees you reach for the leash and suddenly they're spinning, bouncing, making sounds you've never heard anywhere else in nature. You think it's simple happiness. You think you know what excitement looks like. But what if everything happening in that moment, every jump and spin and whine, is your dog's nervous system struggling to contain something so overwhelming that their body can't hold it all inside? Subscribe to the channel, because what you're about to learn will completely change how you see these moments. Number 1. The neurochemical flood your dog can't control. When your dog recognizes a trigger for something good, their brain doesn't gradually build pleasure the way yours does. Studies from canine behavioral neuroscience show that dogs experience what researchers call anticipatory arousal, a neurochemical cascade that floods their system in seconds. The moment your dog's brain recognizes the pattern, whether it's the leash sound, your shoes going on, or the car keys jangling, their dopamine pathways light up faster than their regulatory systems can manage. You see the spinning and jumping, but inside your dog's body, their heart rate spikes by 30 to 40% in under 10 seconds. Stress hormones and pleasure chemicals release simultaneously, and their prefrontal cortex, the part that handles impulse control, gets completely overwhelmed by the limbic system, screaming that something amazing is about to happen. This isn't just happiness. This is your dog's entire nervous system trying to process a reward that hasn't even arrived yet, and their body physically cannot contain the intensity of what they're feeling. The excitement you're watching is actually a controlled crisis, your dog's attempt to manage an internal experience that's borderline overwhelming. Number 2. Why your arrival home triggers the biggest response. Your dog has been alone for hours, and their concept of time doesn't work like yours. Research on canine cognition shows that dogs don't count minutes. They experience something called separation distress gradient, where the emotional weight of your absence keeps building without a clear endpoint. When you finally walk through that door, you're not just returning. You're resolving hours of accumulated uncertainty about whether you'd come back at all. Your dog's amygdala, the brain structure that processes emotional significance, has been in a low-level alert state, monitoring every sound that might signal your return. The explosion of excitement you see, the jumping and spinning and vocalization, happens because your presence triggers a massive release of oxytocin and dopamine simultaneously, while cortisol levels that have been quietly elevated all day suddenly drop. Ethologists who study reunion behavior in canines have documented that this response is actually your dog's nervous system recalibrating from prolonged mild stress to sudden, profound relief. The intensity isn't proportional to how long you've been gone. It's proportional to how much uncertainty your dog has been managing. Every jump is their body trying to discharge energy that built up while they waited, not knowing if this time you might not come back. Number 3. The pattern recognition that makes everything trigger joy. Your dog learns sequences with a precision that would shock you if you could see it mapped in their brain. Behavioral studies using functional imaging show that dogs don't just remember that walks are good. They build intricate behavioral chains where each tiny action you take becomes a predictor of the reward. When you stand up from the couch at a certain time, when you close your laptop in a particular way, when you glance toward the door with specific body language, your dog's pattern recognition system fires before you've consciously decided what you're doing. The excitement starts not when you grab the leash, but often 30 seconds before, when your posture shifts in a way you don't even notice. This is why your dog sometimes gets excited and you have no idea why. They've detected a micro pattern in your behavior that correlates with something good, and their brain has already released the neurochemical response. What looks like random excitement is actually your dog reading a language of behavioral cues so subtle that you're speaking it without knowing. The trigger isn't the obvious thing. The trigger is the invisible sequence of small actions that always precedes the obvious thing. And your dog has every sequence memorized. Number 4. What the physical movements actually mean. The spinning, the jumping, the play bows. These aren't random movements your dog makes because they're happy. Research in canine behavioral expression shows these are specific displacement behaviors. Physical actions that help dogs regulate emotional states their nervous system can't process any other way. When your dog spins in circles, they're activating their vestibular system, creating physical sensation that helps ground them when internal arousal becomes too intense. The jumping isn't trying to reach you, it's a calming signal, a repetitive motion that gives their body something to do with the muscle tension that floods them during excitement. Play bows, the front down, rear up posture, trigger a parasympathetic response that slightly counteracts the sympathetic nervous system overload. Veterinary behaviorists have documented that dogs with no outlet for these displacement behaviors show higher baseline anxiety because they can't physically regulate their emotional spikes. Every movement you see during excitement is your dog's body trying to create equilibrium, trying to handle an internal experience that's almost too big to bear. When you tell your dog to stop jumping, to calm down, you're asking them to suppress the only tools they have for managing what they're feeling. The movements aren't the problem. They're the solution your dog has evolved for staying functional while experiencing joy that would otherwise shut them down completely. Number 5. The social component you're missing. Your dog doesn't get excited in a vacuum. They get excited because you're there to share it with. Studies on canine social cognition reveal that dogs experience something researchers call social referencing, where the value of an experience multiplies when a bonded human is present. Your dog can see a squirrel alone in the yard and barely react, but if you're standing next to them when they spot it, their excitement level triples because you've become part of the reward equation. The jumping on you, the eye contact, the vocalizations directed at your face. These are your dog trying to engage you in their emotional state, attempting to create what behaviorists call affective synchrony, a shared emotional experience. Research published in animal cognition journals shows that when dogs and owners experience simultaneous arousal, both brains release matching patterns of oxytocin and dopamine, creating a biochemical feedback loop. Your dog isn't just excited about the walk or the treat. They're excited about experiencing the walk or treat with you, and their nervous system rewards the social sharing as much as the actual event. This is why your dog seems more excited when you're excited, why they watch your face during high arousal moments, why the same trigger produces different intensity levels depending on your presence and engagement. The excitement isn't a solo experience your dog is having near you. It's a duet they're trying to perform with you, and your participation, or lack of it, fundamentally changes what they're feeling. Number 6. When excitement becomes anxiety. There's a threshold where excitement stops being positive arousal and crosses into stress, and your dog can't always tell the difference. Veterinary research on canine stress responses shows that the physiological markers of excitement, elevated heart rate, rapid breathing, muscle tension, cortisol release, are nearly identical to anxiety markers. When excitement gets too intense or lasts too long without resolution, your dog's nervous system can flip from anticipatory pleasure to genuine distress. You see this when excitement behaviors escalate, when spinning becomes frantic, when jumping becomes manic, when vocalizations shift from happy barks to high-pitched whines. The neurochemical flood that started as dopamine-driven anticipation can trigger the same fight-or-flight cascade that fear does if the arousal doesn't get released through the expected reward. This is why some dogs seem stressed during exciting events, why they pant and pace and can't settle even during fun activities. Their nervous system has been pushed past the point where they can distinguish between good stress and bad stress. and they're caught in a state where their body is screaming danger, even though their brain knows nothing is wrong. If you watch carefully, you can see the moment when your dog's eyes change, when the loose, wiggling body goes slightly rigid, when excitement tips into something that needs your help to resolve. Number 7. What your response does to their future excitement. Every time your dog gets excited, they're watching how you respond, and your reaction is teaching them whether excitement is safe to feel. Dogs learn through associative conditioning that happens faster than conscious thought. And behavioral studies show they're constantly scanning human responses for information about whether their emotional state is acceptable. When you get frustrated at jumping, pull away from spinning. Use a harsh tone to demand calm. Your dog's brain starts pairing their excitement with your disapproval. Over time, this doesn't reduce their internal arousal, it just adds conflict to it. They still feel the overwhelming neurochemical flood, but now it comes with fear of your reaction. Research on canine emotional regulation shows that dogs with owners who punish excitement behaviors don't become calmer dogs. They become dogs who suppress visible signs of arousal, while their internal stress markers remain elevated or increase. The opposite happens when you acknowledge their excitement with calm engagement, when you touch them during their spinning, when you use a steady voice that says you see what they're feeling and it's okay. This teaches their nervous system that high arousal can exist without threat, that they can feel intense emotion and still be safe. Your dog is building a lifetime template for how to handle overwhelming feelings based on these moments, and whether excitement becomes something they can experience with confidence or something they have to hide from you depends entirely on whether you meet their intensity with acceptance or rejection. Number 8. The evolutionary weight behind the response. Your dog's wild ancestors survived because they could mobilize instantly when opportunities appeared. And that survival mechanism is firing every time your dog gets excited about something good. Wolf behavioral research shows that pack hunting success depended on explosive bursts of coordinated energy when prey was detected. And the neurological pathways that created that response are identical to what your domesticated dog experiences when they recognize a reward trigger. The difference is your dog's rewards aren't prey. They're you coming home. Walks, food, play. But their nervous system uses the same ancient circuit that once meant the difference between eating and starving. This is why the response seems disproportionate to the trigger, why a simple walk produces the same physiological intensity as a life or death opportunity would have for their ancestors. Evolution doesn't unwrite itself in 10,000 years of domestication. And the excitement you're seeing is your dog's body preparing for something their DNA still codes as survival critical. When you understand that every excited spin and jump is backed by millions of years of selection pressure favoring dogs who could flip from rest to explosive action in seconds, you realize you're not watching bad behavior. You're watching successful evolutionary programming that kept your dog's ancestors alive. The intensity isn't a flaw. It's a feature that got preserved because it worked. Everything you thought was simple happiness is actually your dog managing a neurological event that floods their system with more intensity than their body was designed to regulate smoothly. The spinning is self-soothing. The jumping is energy discharge. The vocalizations are communication attempts. And all of it together is your dog trying to stay functional while experiencing something that overwhelms their capacity to process it calmly. When your dog explodes with excitement because you picked up the leash, you're not just seeing joy, you're witnessing their entire nervous system recalibrating to handle an emotional experience that their brain codes as critically important. The next time it happens, instead of asking them to suppress it, try seeing it for what it actually is. Your dog's body working exactly as evolution designed it. Their mind trying to share an overwhelming moment with you. Their heart trusting that you'll understand what all this chaos really means. They're not being dramatic, they're being honest about what they feel. And that honesty is a gift most of us spend our whole lives trying to get back to. Share this with someone who needs to understand their dog better. Subscribe to the channel for more insights into the hidden psychology behind every behavior your dog shows you. And remember that every excited moment is your dog telling you something matters to them so much that their whole body can't contain it.